Eep.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. It's been a while. I'm Steve from Mac84, and I sometimes do videos and stuff on the YouTubes. How's everybody doing? Let's see who we have in the chat here. We have Mike of Mike's Mess. We have Colin of This Does Not Compute. Thomas Armstrong is here. Joe of Joe's Computer Museum is here. Gutbomb is here. Poopy doopy indeed. Let's see who else is here. Sad Mac 356. Matthew is here. Jeremy, Snake Boy, Tom Barber. Karl, yes, this is your turd of a board. Feel better soon, Karl. I will ask you one brief question before you go off and have more pain than I'm going to have, maybe. Did this work, or was it sad? It was the Mac TV analog board. I'm assuming there was a reason you gave it to me with the caps. Oh, boy. And everyone else, hello. Welcome. I'm sure there'll be other people joining in here, and I'll forget to say hi, but hi. How's everyone doing? Micro Hobbyist, hello. There is no mic. It is a figment of your imagination. This is a pretty damn big figment. Hope everyone is doing okay. Having a good weekend. It's Saturday here. It's the evening here, and I am trying to survive. I've been doing a lot of different things, and hey, well on you, Mike. Just have not had time to do any streaming. But today, I want to try and get this done. Full transparency, I can't test this right now because the system is in the shed, and the little cart that I have has a bunch of plants and stuff that my wife put on it, so I didn't drag that from there. But when I do fix this up, fingers crossed, I'll post an update afterwards. When I do that. But today we are going to be looking at this bad boy. This is a analog board for a Macintosh TV. I'm pretty sure it's the same exact model for the Performa 500 series, like the 550 and the 575 and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I have a recap kit for this, and there is a recap guide I am following, but there's a lot of components on this thing, and I've never done one of these before. I've done a Color Classic before, but I've never done one of these before. So this will be interesting, and I'm scared, but we'll get through it together. Hopefully, somehow we will. You didn't miss a lot of streams. There just weren't a lot of streams to be had. I have been too busy to do anything. I'm working on a few videos. One is about this Kodak Reels digitizer. It's an 8mm film digitizer, which has been hacked to oblivion and back. Thus the Arduino hanging off the side of it, and the 3D printed lens mount with the new lens. Every time I inch closer to finishing that video, which I started in August of 2023, I hit a roadblock or something I want to showcase. I can't do it for whatever reason. So it's just one of those things where it'll be done when it gets done, I suppose. Which sucks because I really just want to get that done. I have other videos to work on, but you know, it is what it is. Does the lens mount work? Yes, it does. The big thanks to Gutbomb. Gutbomb, put your channel dilly in the chat, please, because you're awesome. Gutbomb helped me print and design and basically did everything for this little plastic riser that sits on top of the black plastic that is stock, and then the lens mount sits on top of there. And let me show you this thing. Because any way I can procrastinate to not doing this analog board immediately, I will. So let's plug in 12 volts into this sucker, and we'll turn this on. No, I don't know what you're linking to. I don't approve. And it basically has a little camera, and you could capture film if it had an SD card in it. But it does it frame by frame. I have to turn the damn thing off now. But the built-in compression settings on this are absolute garbage. It claims on the back it has an 8 megapixel sensor. It's actually only a 3 megapixel sensor. And essentially it has some built-in sharpening and all this garbage. Also, why is my lights are very bright here? Let me adjust the camera a little bit. So it's really a flawed product. They want like $400 something for the darn thing. And yeah, so did that fix it? Kind of, maybe. Now I can't see. Yeah, whatever. You'll deal with blown out color, Steve. Settings, image color, reset. Nope. Do these buttons do anything? Kind of. How about that? Does that help? No. 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 Awesome. We'll just deal with it. Oh my goodness. Hey, Francois. Thank you for removing that image, or whatever the hell that link was. Goggles, they do nothing. Let's see, who do I miss? Hey, Dave, how's it going? All right. So, what was I saying? Yes, so the Kodak thingy, I've been messing around with that. I also today found these in the garage. Little disposable cameras. This is a waterproof one. Freaking love the design of this. The camera's in there. It finally focused. So this is from 1998. And I was trying to open this because, first off, it's cheaper to just send in a roll of film to have it developed than saying it's a disposable camera, because you pay a few bucks extra for them to rip the darn thing open. And second, I wanted to keep this because they were just going to toss it. And this is like pure late 90s nostalgia for me. It says copyright 1998 on the back. Says best developed before March 2000 on the back. So we're about 25 years too late. And so I started with a heat gun. I tried prying with the screwdriver. I tried a Dremel. And then I was like, well, all right, I'll just use this that they have. And I pulled it and then realized the whole thing, eventually, you have to pry it a lot, separates, and it comes up like this. So if you have one of these cameras and you're wondering how the hell to open them, I couldn't find anything else online. You have to lift the knob up, which goes to the film canister that was there, and then do this, and then you could pull from this side of the camera and sort of wiggle it out of there. But I just love the stupid design of this thing. I just think it's neat. Very, very neat. So there was that. There was also this, it's a local pharmacy chain near us. Well, in the state. Drug fair. It's a very basic one. And there was another one, which... Oh, it's naked, because I took the film out. I guess I could shove this back on there. These two, I think, were from my wife's family. No idea what the hell's on them. Probably, I mean, I've had okay luck with film developing well after it was supposed to. Sometimes you get weird colors, or it's like too dark or whatever. This one really doesn't want to go back in there. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll see. Better than nothing, I suppose. This one was Food Town, which is another grocery store chain thingamajig here in New Jersey. See if I can put this back correctly. Why am I putting them back correctly? I don't know. There we go. Look at that. Focus. 27 whole exposures. Wow. Yeah, so that's that. No, we're not hitting it with the hammer. What are we hitting? Something. I don't know. Well, the old camera. Anybody else did not say hello to? Hello, Jack68K, Lord of Nothing, all my Patreon supporters and my YouTube members and all that fun stuff. Thank you. Anything else I want to talk about before we get started here? I'll be at VCF Midwest coming up in second week of September. So I will have a table. I don't know what I'm bringing yet. I will hopefully have stickers and some mouse pads to sell. So if you didn't get a mouse pad last time, come get one. If you are at the show and you see me there, come up, say hello. We'll grab a picture. We'll do whatever. It's going to be a crazy show, I'm sure. Last year was absolutely bananas, and I'm sure it's going to be even crazier. So, all right. Well, without further ado, I guess let's warm up the desoldering gun. And there's a recapping guide of sorts for this. Let me share my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. That's, well, whatever. So, yeah, this person, Marcinelli. Sorry, I can't read. They did a guide for their LC575 analog board, which looks very, very similar to this. They're probably the identical part. In fact, they mentioned part number 6300355, and this says... Where the heck is the part number? 630055. So it is the same exact part number, 0355. So the same exact part number from 1993. And we should be good to recap it. The only thing that someone noted here in the comments was that capacitor CP14 had the opposite polarity. So we'll just have to pay attention to CP14 when we do it, but yeah, hopefully will not cause too much of a problem, because that doesn't sound like fun. And just a reminder, I said at the very beginning, I do not have the system with me. It's in the garage, so the shed rather, so we won't be able to test this after I recap it, but hopefully it goes swimmingly. We do have a recap box of caps somewhere. Where the hell did that go? I swear I had it in my hand. Here it is. Almost lost it. You should be following along at home. Can I follow you along at home? Can you just do it for me? That'll make it easier. The traditional Console 5 candy. And then a bag of capacitors. So this says Macintosh Color Classic Macintosh TV. So that's the kit you get. Focus. There we go. So that matches the part number, which is good. Looks like we got a chunky old cap here, a 400 volt 330 microfarad. Which one is that one? That one is right there. All right. Well, this is going to be interesting. I don't know how much I can do this under the microscope, but yeah. Hope everyone's doing okay today. I'm going to turn on the desoldering gun. Where's the power button? Oh, there go a thing of screws. All right. And let's get the chat situation so I can actually see it better. Let's do the pop-out chat. Let's make it larger because I am blind. Where's Bruce? Bruce was the one pestering me about streaming. How dare he not show up? So rude. I'm obviously joking. Bruce is amazing. And if you haven't checked out his previous live stream about that massive Macintosh 2FX reloaded board he was doing, my goodness, that was nuts. But that was super cool. So, all right. So I guess what we have to do here is identify which caps need to be replaced here. All right. So Karl in the chat here says, so the computer worked, but sometimes the colors would flicker a bit and the screen would flicker a bit. Okay, that certainly sounds like something to do with either the monitor or the analog board. I certainly hope it's not the monitor, because we don't want that to happen, because I can't fix that. But these are old. There might be some leakage on here. I'm not seeing anything bad, but you know, capacitors are capacitors. Just seeing if I could spot anything to note here on the board. And I do have my little component tester. So once we take some caps off, I guess we could test them. So let's take this big old chunky one off first, because this guy here, it will be easy to do, I guess. Would a 90s Mac price check be allowed here? What? Just say it in the chat. What do you want to price on? I'm cheap, so my prices are always going to be cheap. But I will tell you what I've seen prices for. Just because I'm not going to pay for something doesn't mean that somebody else isn't crazy enough to do it out there. Holy crap, I don't think my desoldering gun could fit around that. Let's see. As I drag all of my tools off the desk. Moo. Oh, that is gonna be fun. Well, most of it's coming off. Not all of it. Oh boy. Yeah, feel better, Karl. Don't do whatever you did. No, I feel for you, man. Good luck. I will keep you posted. Hopefully, me being an idiot on YouTube will make the pain go away. Just like that, a cap has flown out of the board. We will name that cap Karl. That's a big old boy. Look at that. Look at that. And we will put that to the side. I'm curious if that has how healthy that capacitor is. So, poltergeist capacitor has a mind of its own. All right, where we removed that from seems to have no leakage whatsoever, so that's a very good sign. This analog board overall looks to be pretty clean. I guess I should move the camera to like something like this, because we will be. I don't have that fancy setup with Bruce has two cameras, but I do have another one behind me, and I just have not set it up properly. So, sorry. For a Centra 610. Yeah, I mean, $50 is probably about a good price, unless you like recap the logic board and the power supply, and you put a bunch of goodies in there. I think $50 is probably the ceiling on that, and you know that assumes it's in pretty good shape and all this stuff, you know. All right, so no, I did not, Eric. That is in a different pile, and since unfortunately we don't have the chassis of a system by us to test this analog board, it's in the shed. We'll be doing that later on. But welcome to the chat, Eric. Thank you for tuning in. I do have Eric's 475? No, 575 in a little bin that you can't see that I'm pointing to off screen, connected to my testing harness dealie. So I still have to figure out why that is sad macking. Probably a memory issue or something. Now that I have my little Zoe ZT703S oscilloscope, we could try fixing that another time. But for today, I did promise Karl last year at VCF Midwest that I would try and get some progress on just recapping this. He even gave me the recap kit. So we're just ripping off caps. But what I want to do here is also keep a little checklist of what capacitors I've removed, because this is a lot. I haven't done this before, and it's going to get busy, I'm sure. All right, so we removed one capacitor. That's the big old boy there, and that is not necessarily labeled. That is fan-frickin-tastic. It's gonna be harder than I thought. Well, there's some goop on the board. Forceful goop removal. There we go. CP30. Alright, so that's CP30, and that's the big one. That's the 300 microfarad, 400 volt capacitor. You don't want to lick that one, folks. Yeah, it has the same cap kit, so I wouldn't be surprised if they are very similar. But I believe the model does change, but I believe that most of the caps involved are similar. All right. Yeah, the experience thing is some YouTube garbage. You could just ignore it. Don't worry about it. All right. Yeah. So next, we're gonna do the ones around this. I guess we'll just do it in that order, because that makes sense. So there's a teeny little tiny capacitor here, the capacitor 34. I expect someone to keep a tally at home, because I'm sure as hell not going to remember all of this. There's a little capacitor 34 and 35. So one's a 47 microfarad 25 volt. One's a 1 microfarad 50 volt. And I will actually... where's my marker? I had a marker here. Marker. Here, marker. I'm just going to put a little check next to each capacitor I remove, just so I know I removed it. That'll be the saner choice, I think. Alright, so now this is the... the 1 microfarad 50 volt. And I should get a little bin for these, because I'm weird. Just like collect them. Here. Put them there. So we could see if any of them were still good. Yeah, that's why MacFX has the Kickstarter. Because those things usually go fast. A lot of his products go fast. The clear cases, the keyboard upgrades, and all that stuff. So that's right. All right. So Dave is an absolute legend here in the chat. Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. He's worked on TVs and stuff like that for decades. And so, hey, Scarlet Swordfish. Long time no see. How's it going? Hey, Rudy and Dana and Garth and anybody else I forgot to say hi to. We were at VCF Midwest, and Karl brings over Macintosh TV, the whole unit, and Performa 550 or 575 or whatever it is. And he wants to swap, he wants to remove the analog board, and then he wants to give me one of the machines so I can use it as a chassis, and I think I swapped an analog board or whatever. But we had to discharge the CRT and remove the yoke connector from the monitor. And they haven't been powered on in a long time, so there wasn't really a risk. But our pal Eric of Eric's Edge was adjacent to our table and was going to get out his discharge tool, and I was going to do it and everything. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh, I got to do this. And Dave just comes over and goes, oh, okay. And he just takes it, goes, and just does the little unclip thing and just yanks it off for both of them. And I'm like, Dave, you just saved me a lot of time. Thank you. So, Dave, you're the man. Thank you. Very much looking forward to see you and everyone else at VCF Midwest this year. He rock talked it. Oh, God. All right. So, let's continue here. We have a capacitor 34. That's this little guy here. It's always fun to try and make sure that you're removing the right caps on these things, because you have to go from the bottom of the board, and sometimes it's not clear which directions the legs are. There we go. So let me just put a little mark down there. So I know I did this one and this one. And when I clean the board later, all these marks will go away. But anyway, to emulate retro computers on a Raspberry Pi, there are plenty of ways. Plenty. So the answer is yes. Plenty. There's the whole, what is it, RetroPie? That has some computers built in, the Commodore 64, Macintosh Plus, stuff like that. But if you are going a different route and you have like your desktop operating system and whatever, Basilisk 2, Sheep Shaver are the ways to go for Macintosh emulation. Or you could just buy, what is it called, the Pico Micro Mac that Ron has worked on, and it's on, yep, there's Joe's putting it in, and on Joe's store. So Joe, put a link in to the product there, and that's more of like a little kit, and you could just put it on. You put a Pi Pico on there, and it does all the cool stuff. So, but there are plenty of options for that. Sorry, didn't mean to catch up on the chat. Oh, Bruce! He's here! And he's gone. Alright. We'll get him later. We'll get him later. Actually, what I should do... That would have been smarter. I should have printed out this... words. This guide here, and then checked them off as I went along. Whatever. Alright. We have a cluster of these here. I used to have a printer set up over there. And it's actually, I have a printer over here. But nobody wants to see me fuss with the printer during a live stream. Like, nobody. Alright, so we have 2 caps here, 3300 microfarad, 16 volts, and next to it is a 1000 microfarad, 16 volt. Fire up an image writer. Don't think it would be legible. Alright, so looks like we have, and sorry that some of this view is obscured, it's just so awkward to do this where you could see sometimes, so apologies if this is a lot of mooing and me talking, but when we get to soldering in the things, you'll be able to see them better. Now all these caps are sort of glued together with whatever this gunk is. So I have to remove all 3 of them. And the bottom of this board looks pretty clean. There's no visible leakage that I see. Oh, I feel the glue separating. Come on. There we go. Yeah, those, well... That one looks a little bit leaky, but there's a big cluster that we just removed. Your daily moo. All right, and oh, these are weird ones. These are chunky ones that are on their side. And we're gonna do that. All right, and then there are 2 over here. These are 1 microfarad 50 each, so we'll undo those. Always just making sure I'm not undoing a resistor by mistake, because there are so many components here. All right. Whoopsies. The whole board has a mind of its own, folks. Oh, hey, Jack. Thank you very much, Jack68K. Eep! Said, Saturday night recapping party. Thank you very much for the super chat. That is greatly appreciated. Yes, the recapping party will go on until everyone is deafened by the moo gun. I am so sorry. But a moo nonetheless. How do I restore my G3 bezel? You buy a new one. They were not made to last. The plastic is brittle, and unfortunately, that's just the way they are. I have a suspicion. This is not confirmed or anything like that. This is just a hunch that once these G3 bezels that MacFX has created get into the market, maybe after a period of time they will be available again. He has done that previously with some other products. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, what I would strongly suggest you do is to make sure Mark and anybody who works for him knows that there's demand for this stuff, is message him. Send an email, go to his website, fill out the form, do all that fun stuff and say, hey, I want to buy this thing. The best thing you could do as a customer that wants a product is to tell someone you're interested in it. So I would suggest you do that. Someone also might sell one, I suppose, if, you know, because there was the multi-packs available. So if there's one for sale, you might be able to pick it up that way. This one smells a bit fishy. That one might be a bit, ugh. Ugh. Yeah. No, Garth, no! The Clarus gun, yes. Oof. Alright, and so now we are doing, I did that little capacitor there. There's a lot of little tiny guys over here. So this is another 1 microfarad 50 volt. Right below this voltage regulator. At least it looks like a voltage regulator. Who am I to judge what it is? I'm probably wrong anyway, and the whole board moves. Oh, this one's stinky. Oh, these little ones are stinking the worst. We'll have to test those in a minute. Or not. Let's say we did. Alright, so we got another cluster of capacitors here. So many! So many. And they all have that hot snot around it. Alrighty. No fishing on that one. I know. That's the reason I was putting this damn thing off for so long. Let me adjust this camera. It is not straight because the mount is on the wall, sort of not straight. So that's what happens. That's close enough. The snot of death. Remove the snot. Yeah, it's zoom in a little bit here. As you can see, a lot of these little groups of capacitors have little hot glue snot things all over the place. So there's a lot of little caps here that have to be removed, like, in a series, because there's so many of them. A fair price for a Macintosh Color Classic. Well, if it is working, I would say the range of a Macintosh Color Classic working between $200 and $300, assuming it hasn't been recapped. The hard drive might need to be replaced. The analog board might need recapping. Maybe it doesn't have a keyboard and mouse or whatever. With the recap, you're talking maybe $400 to $600, depending on the memory in there and if it has an add-on card or whatever. That's a best guess. I haven't sold one in a very, very long time. But a few people here might have sold a Color Classic recently, so they could probably give you a better figure on that. This figure is also like sort of enthusiast to enthusiast type pricing. You'll see much higher on eBay, and then it'll get destroyed in shipping. Do not ship them if you have any ability not to. Do not ship it. Try and sell it locally, or bring it to like somewhere, because they will. The plastic that surrounds that monitor, even though it's a small monitor, it doesn't support it anymore because that plastic is very brittle. Rattling around in a box. There's so many packages these days. Back in the day, you might have been able to ship it without a problem. There's so many boxes going around the globe these days. It's just going to get destroyed and mishandled. So try not to get it killed. But hey, Enzo, how's it going? The lick test. No, Dave. You know what? How about I'll bring some to you at VCF Midwest, and you can do the test for me. I'll bring the 400 volt capacitor. How about that? That'll go in the test. Oh boy. All right, and then there's another cap. That's a resistor, so we don't want to remove that. I believe this is the cap above it. And if I'm wrong, I just have to resolder it. Alright, looks like, alright, and then we have one above that, although it's like there, I think. Another cluster of 3. At least nope, I think I undid the wrong one. Oopsies. I am desoldering components that don't need desoldering. Yay! Oh, what the hell? So it's right next to that. What the hell? Okay, well, yeah, that one was leaking for sure. I'll get a zoom in of that in a bit. Oh, I see. There's a little guy right next to it. Okay. There we go. Let's put this back here. My goodness. Top 5 of my favorite Mac models. Alright. Macintosh 2CX. Keylime iBook Special Edition G3. G3 Mini Tower. The beige one. Because hells yeah. Quadra 840AV because it hurts me. And PowerBook G4 12-inch. Why not? Beautiful machine. Most of those machines I used for a long period of time. So, yeah. The Quadra 630. Yes, that's a good one too, Garth. No one would think differently of you for liking that. Giving Garth crap about that because it's funny. I'm jealous though because Garth got a great one of those at VCF Midwest a year or two ago. Okay, so I have to actually resolder this back. And I don't want to turn on the other soldering iron, so I'm going to use the desoldering iron to solder something. Oh, the humanity! All right, that'll do. You did, and it is in a box waiting for me to take it out because I'm taking a few videos of that for Dan of Userlandia. He's doing a video about I think an iBook and a ThinkPad or something. He was talking on Blue Sky about it, and so it will be featured in that. Those are wicked cool machines. My absolute favorite color they ever did because it's so neon and yes, and I love it. So thank you, Joe. You are a gentleman and a scholar. And we also share the same brain, which is very scary. Brain no think, good go. Dana, I thought you mentioned the PowerBook 150 as your favorite. I was about to say, Dana, you feeling okay? Me brain no think good. Let's see, Mac 2FX, SE30. Oh, that's a good one. Color Classic, very good. 2SI Ori Quadra 700. Blue and white G3. Yes, I cheated and named 6. If I had to name a sixth one, it would be the clones. It would be the UMAX S900, the dual processor one, because hells yeah, UMAX. Alright, so we have 3 more tiny little capacitors here. Let's hope that, well, no, that shouldn't be removed. Oh. Well, there I go again. Desoldering things that shouldn't be desoldered. That's just the problem with these boards. It's very hard to see where the legs go to if you're not careful. Even if you are careful. Mistakes happen. Oh, Bruce will be back. If not, he'll get a lot of flack. I really should mount a webcam on this thing. That won't be dizzying at all. Oh, Bruce is at the shops. Shopping it up. I hope he brings us back a snack. Or something. I mean, don't leave us hanging there, Bruce. See, if I had electricity in the shed, I could just walk this over to the shed, plug it in, and we do a test, bada bing, bada boom. I don't, because of inept contractors who can't do what they originally say they're going to do. So, yeah. All right. Power Edge server. Yeah, there's one locally here, Dana, for $40. $40. That's actually the model up from mine. I mean, it's just a Xeon processor, but it's great for a server. So what Dana and I are talking about is something I'm also doing a video about, which is also not done yet because reasons. And that is my data hoarding, or rather data storage issue. So a few years ago I made a iCloud video where I was like ranting about how iCloud is weird and how, you know, it's sort of hard to manually find bits and pieces of data like documents and stuff when they're sort of in the ether. And so I had a network attached storage unit for a long time. I had a Synology, absolutely loved it. It was one of my faves. And Colin and I of This Is Not Compute talked about this recently on our podcast called Unimplemented Trap. You can access that podcast if you are a supporter of the channel or a Patreon member, or if you're a patron of Colin's awesome channel, This Does Not Compute. So if anything of what I'm saying is familiar, it's because you likely heard it there. But essentially, I needed a better place to store all my crap. I had a Synology for the longest time, and then it was so old they took the software updates off the website and it was no longer supported, which was sad. Ooh, that was bridged to something. That's weird. It's very weird. That's not the right component, is it? That's why it was bridged. Hold, please. The reason I liked Synology was the ease of use. It was my first network attached storage. I didn't have to think about anything. It just worked. Problem was, when it came time to replace it, there weren't as many affordable options as there used to be for my workflow, which sort of changed. So, for better or worse, I couldn't afford what Synology was doing. And let me just resolder this, and I'll yap on for a sec. Come on. There we go. Oopsies, that component fell out. Crap. Well, I hope whatever this is goes in the same way both sides, because you're going in there. Let's desolder that. Put this back in there. But essentially, I outgrew my storage needs. I had to build a new network attached storage unit, and I wanted to do one that would meet my needs not only now, but the foreseeable future. I wanted to at least build double or triple of the space I needed. And one of the things that I played around with was the idea of just using an off-the-shelf server, like an Xserve. But unfortunately, the Xserves have a limit of the hard drive size. I think it's a terabyte or whatever. So even if you have an Xserve RAID, like I'm crazy enough to, oops, component fell out again. You know, that's not really feasible for my needs. Hard drives are now, 20 terabytes in size and more. So I'm a bigger fan of having like a handful of drives rather than like 20 drives, And the thing is, for years and years, I've had a very bad issue of like having so much data that I had external hard drives, and none of those were really organized. It was just like whatever has a space on it, that's where the file is going. And all that fun stuff, So I needed to organize my crap better, and so I've overbuilt this NAS to basically encompass all of those external drives. Just make sure. Oh, that is the same. Okay. Sorry. I'm soldering while I'm talking. It's not a great not a great solder job, but it'll do. Oh yes, congrats, Mike. I know I talked to you a bit earlier about that. But essentially, I outgrew my Synology needs, and when I was looking for one of those, they were way too expensive. So I started looking other directions. Unraid was one of them. TrueNAS was another. And I experimented. I had some old Dell Optiplex, and I put like a 1 terabyte drive in there. And I installed TrueNAS And I'm like, this works. It even supports Apple Talk, at least the version I was using. So I could use a file share with my old Macs and all this stuff. But the main reason was I just wanted to take all of this data. I had like, let me show you a photo. It was bad. It was bad. Let's find a photo. So here's a photo of some of my external hard drives. There's about 21 of them. 21. Most of them are at least 4 terabytes and higher. The 3 Seagate ones on the right side of your screen are 8 terabytes each. Some of them are 14 terabytes and so on. And these are backups of old machines, family photos. I'm my own family photos, archivist guy, so home movies, all that crap. Tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. But as you can imagine, not really easy to find out where would I put that file. And you don't want to keep these plugged in all the time because then they have the risk of crashing and all that stuff. So there was this, I think it's Disk Catalog Maker is a piece of software that basically does an index of a disk, sort of like Spotlight Search does on the Mac, but it lets you search afterwards. So I scanned all of those drives and did some sort of deduping and got an idea of how much space I needed, how much used space I needed, and settled on basically having a plan with duplication, of course, for about, I think originally I was shooting for like 60 terabytes of information or so. Oh, Hardware Hacker, thank you very much for the super chat. Eep, back at you. Wish I could see an easy path for my data, but I just don't have an IT solution in me. Suck at network, suck at Linux. Tutorials are daunting. TrueNAS was easy. If I could do it, anybody could do it. It was pretty darn easy. But essentially, I went with, I think it's like 90 terabytes formatted. After watching a bunch of videos and tutorials, it was a ZFS2 RAID configuration. So I have, this is the first server I built in 2023. And it was 8 18 terabyte drives in a Dell PowerEdge T320 that my good pal Keith gave me because the business was shutting down. He said, hey, do you want any of this stuff? They're going to throw it out. And I'm like, okay. And I picked up this Dell just because it had all the hard drive slots in it. I'm like, that could be handy. And sure enough, that's what I ended up using. I had an interim solution with a custom PC case for a while, but I was having disconnection issues with hard drives and all this crap. So when I moved to that Dell tower, it was like night and day difference. Much better there. So I, instead of going the route of paying Synology $1,500 for a box that has 10 gigabit Ethernet networking with no hard drives, and now all this crazy bull crap where they restrict the hard drives you could use and the SSDs you could use and the memory modules you could use because of compatibility and all this garbage, I put that money into hard drives. So I had a Xeon server that was just sitting here that I got for free, and they're pretty cheap. You get them for like $50, at least here in the New York, New Jersey area. Nobody seems to want them. And, I spent my money on hard drives instead. And now that I had gotten another one of these Dell servers, and realizing that I wasn't using up so much space, I'd made a smaller backup NAS that I now rsync to it. And then that eventually goes onto some externals that I backblaze up to the cloud. But, so that's my convoluted storage thing and all that crap. I'll start talking about it. But if I can figure it out, you folks can. So... there is a bit of a steep learning curve if you want to do some of these advanced things, but I really didn't have to do any of that. There were some things where I got stuck, and I just did a few Google searches, and I'm like, okay, that's why it's doing that. But yeah, good luck to anybody doing that, because I was tired of not knowing where all my crap was. Gut Bomb is saying they back up to zip disks. I dare you. That's the wrong thing, isn't it? Of course it is. Don't tell me this got clogged again. Probably. An Apple Network Server 700. Oh, I wish. Back up to jazz discs. They are so reliable. This is right on the ground plane. This is just not melting here. All right. My goodness, so many capacitors. All right. I'm not cleaning this as frequently as I should because I want to get this done. Yeah, I hear there's going to be some network, a few Apple servers at the show this year. That's amazing. That is a lot of fun. You have to make them all talk to each other and do something. Alright. I'm just ripping caps off here. But oh yeah, there's a metal shielding thing. I guess I could take that off, but these are not too much in the way. Anybody fix anything recently? Oh, that one doesn't want to come out. What the hell is that? Okay. Oh, alright. It's just, some of these things are so close to each other. Alright, that's a resistor, so we shouldn't be removing that. I'll touch that up in a second. Let's get these two caps out of the way, because I can't see anything. You can't either. But it's worse for me. I got the hot iron in the hand. Oh, that's exciting. First time VCF Midwest. There's nothing else like it, I tell you. Well, one bit, you got to start somewhere. So if it is really something that you want to tackle, baby steps. But I understand. It's not 100% easy. But honestly, with this, the most difficult part for me was the particular Dell I have has a SATA card, and I basically had to flash that to what they call IT mode in order for it to work on TrueNAS. And that was the hardest thing because I had to boot up to like Linux and then MS-DOS and I just was following a tutorial. I had to type in commands, but that was the most tedious thing. Everything else was pretty painless. But all right, more capacitors. Oh my God, there's so many. There's so many. Sorry, let me just scroll up. I'm missing some in the chat. ANSMW. Yeah, I should do that, Garth. Touch up as I go. Least I forget, and I will. No, TrueNAS runs on, I forget what version of Linux. You could Google it. But because it's basically, and I'll show you a preview. Or you can honestly just Google it and take a look at the interface, because it's really just streamlined like for that. You log into a website, it shows all your stuff. You could have a screen plugged into it, but it's just going to show you, you know, Linuxy things. There's no GUI or anything like that. Yep, that's a problem with these systems. If you don't recap them, the sound goes and all sorts of other stuff go. I sure hope I'm removing the right capacitors. But it looks like you just remove all of them. which is why I'm not throwing them out, because who knows if this guide has every single one of them. And we could always put back one if they're in good shape, because sometimes they are. Alright, so this one is there? Nope. Lower. Alrighty. There's a little cluster of 3 of them right here. I'm sorry, you should be seeing the board. There we go. More than my big old face. Oh, this is very difficult. Right, so right below the 3, the third one down. That's that. Huh. Hey, it's Bruce from Brank's Creations. Falseness. It used to be called FreeNAS, and then they changed the name because I think there's a like a different tier where you could pay for support, and I guess if you called it FreeNAS, then people would get confused and whatever. But I hear very good things about other solutions. This is just what worked for me, and I'm just saying, hey, that's one way to do it. So Bruce, how many of these have you done? Did you have as much fun as I'm having? So many capacitors. I hate when I undo the wrong one on the back of the board. It's like, oh, that's not the way it's supposed to go. That's not the component I wanted to remove. How silly of me. Well, I think it's very similar to a Color Classic, so if you've done one of those, you've suffered along with the rest of us. Put the rest of those in a little bin down there. Well, SK3PZX, it's a brilliant name to try and pronounce. Bruce at Brank's Creations here has an excellent beginner's guide to soldering. And you don't have to know anything. It's a beginner's guide. And what I would say is, don't go and do this right away. That would be insane for anybody. Start with a little kit. Like they have kits that are maybe about this size, and they have little LEDs. This is a USB tester. It's not a good example, but something about this size, and it has some components on there with lights or capacitors or whatever, and they're about $10 or so. And then you get a soldering iron for about $40 to $60. They have little bundles that aren't too bad. And if you're interested in that, that's a great way to get into it. Also, if you're not interested into it, you could pay somebody else to do it if you want, but that does get pricey. But it's a good skill to learn. I fixed plenty of things around the house with it. Yeah, Eric has started with the SE30. He started on hard mode. Don't do that. Start with the little kit and get your skills sharpened before you dive into something that's old and cranky and doesn't want to work properly. Yeah, I had some basic skills from high school, and when I started to get back into Vintage Macs around 2010 or so, I just kept trying and practicing, and there was I think there was a YouTube video or something I watched, or a friend was showing me some tricks. And then when I met Bruce around 2019 or so, it's like, oh, there's somebody else who's as crazy as I am, who likes these old computers and tries to fix them. And I learned a lot of great techniques from Bruce. So I would strongly suggest his video series. Bruce, put a link into your playlist that you have. Because even if you're not going to do it, they're fascinating videos to watch. So there's so many damn capacitors on this stupid board. Oh my god. There's 2 that are like hidden by the flyback. Do you got to do those? They're not shown on this, are they? Yeah, I don't see them on there. Oh, yep, they are. They're on the guide. Alright, well, I gotta do those anyway. I was just saying, put a link in the chat for your soldering playlist of goodies. So just catching up with the chat, then I'll continue moo gunning the hell out of it. Yeah, you can start with an old DVD player, an old VCR, an old satellite TV box, something that has no value, that you don't care if you screw it up. You just practice removing components, practice putting it back on, practice using flux and all that fun stuff. Hand-eye coordination. Yeah, and that's it. At these VCF shows, Bad Karma mentions sometimes there are soldering classes, which are another great way to learn an old PC. Yeah, YouTube's inserting ads. I had it on manual for the longest time. Sorry. And it would not insert ads, but it looks like something overrode that setting. So I do apologize. I sincerely hate that. Well, Karl, you could fix different things. We each have our gifts. Alright, so we got some more to do here. So buy this metal RF shield type thing. Let's get that out of the way. There you go, Bruce. Thank you very much, my friend. And Bruce also has tutorials about trace repair and advanced techniques too. So once you have the basics settled, if you want to go and recap something or fix up something, it's a great resource. There's one right next to it. Had someone knock on our door the other day about solar panels because the whatever tax credit you would have gotten is expiring the end of this year, and our house is situated where you don't have too many trees blocking the roof, and you got a freaking clear line. And I'll say it's a convincing idea, especially when you consider putting batteries in there, and then you have like some backup in case your power goes out. But they ain't cheap. But our electric rates went up like 20%. Which sucks, but curious if anybody in the chat has any experience with those solar panels. Whether you installed it yourself. I know the 8-bit guy, David Murray, did a whole video series on stuff he did with his panels, which looks intriguing. I don't know if I'd do it myself, but... Oh, there's some hot snot on here. That's why it's not coming off. Kind of one of those things that you maybe want a qualified electrician to do. Oh, nice. That's the way to do it. Yep, that's our electricity bill for this month was $450 US. $450 US. I could have bought an iPad instead of using like a 10th generation, whatever the hell I have. That's like 12 years old. Yeah, expensive. Well, some of them are, Dana, and trust me, because I've talked to a few of those over the phone. Some of those panel companies are just like they don't even do it. They're a middleman. They hire out another company and blah 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 blah. But there are some good companies that actually have been around for like 30, 40 years. Those are the companies you want to obviously do business with, not these shady folks. And I've had them ring my doorbell decades ago, and I was like, what the hell, get the hell off my property. And you could just smell them from a mile away. You don't want anything to do with them. So yeah, you got to be careful, because some of these people are just out there to say, oh no, yeah, you don't have to pay a dime, they're gonna be free, blah blah blah, and then you get a financing bill in the mail and you're like, what? And there are news stories of them preying on, seniors and all this stuff. It's terrible. But put that cap down. So let me finish reading the chat here. Horizontal desoldering to avoid fighting gravity. I will have to look at that. I don't have enough space I don't have a camera pointing down, or I'd do something fancier. Yes, $450. It was not fun. Got power cord 180 yesterday. I realized I don't have the power cord for it. So I tried opening the bottom shelf and a single screw will just not unscrew. So it's kind of inconvenient. Yes, because the plastic posts that those screws go into on the PowerBooks like to disintegrate. So if you undo all the screws, you should be able to easily open it, but the cracked plastic is cracked, and there's nothing really you can do for that. Unless you open it up and glue them and all that stuff. But so Quicksilver just bought a 450 watt panel for their grid tie inverter. Cost them $50 second hand. Now that's a good deal. Get off my property. Yeah, I mean that's the way to do it, Dana. If you know how to do it and you could buy the panels yourself and there's no middleman, I guess you just hire an electrician to tell them what you want to do. But yeah. All right, so we're running out of capacitors to remove. I see 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Yes, let's remove these ones from the corner here, right by the flyback, where I want to stick my fingers and get zapped to oblivion while things fall off my desk. Wouldn't be a Mac 84 stream without things falling off my desk, now would it? Now I have a Performa 550 that works great, although the geometry, like the picture controls, don't seem to cooperate anymore. And I know it needs to be recapped eventually, but thankfully, that's the only problem with it. It just forgets the settings. So. Are there any under the metal shields? We will see. Trying to get these two out. Come on. The guide I'm following on Tinker Different might have the answer to that. Yes, there are 2 under the metal shield in the middle here. I can't get these out. Where are my tweezers? These tiny little capacitors here. Did I not decide that correctly? There we go. Sometimes the legs of these are like hooked in a little way, so it's hard to get them out. Hey, Jeff! How's it going? We're recapping the analog board of a Macintosh TV. And we're all being painful. I'm painful? I'm in pain because of it. Thanks for tuning in, Jeff. And great video the other day on your Mac Classic. Glad you got that up and running. For those of you who have not seen it, Jeff did a great video repairing his Mac Classic that I believe belonged to his aunt. And got that up and running, which is very cool. Good to keep those things alive. And thank you for the little shout out in the video. You used a clip of me fixing my poor little Quadro. Alright, so I'm going to take this metal shield off because there's 2 caps in under there. And then we have these big old brown ones which are covered in hot snot and lying horizontally. Oh yes, Macintosh Plus. Just make sure you reflow all of the connectors on that go to and from the analog board to the logic board and everything else, because those chunky connectors can crack and get very hot. And so usually you just have to tidy those up and they should be okay. Alright, let's put this like this. Move the camera. We're not too fancy here today, sorry, but this is what we got. There are plenty of FAD mods for a lot of these systems. You're basically just tacking on, borrowing voltage from somewhere. So it's certainly something you can do. Just make sure, obviously, you have the right voltage fan, whether it be 5 or 12. There might be some things on Tinker Different. I haven't seen any modern things, but I know for back in the day it was not uncommon to see some of those modifications done. Alright, so this plug goes in here, so we have to undo this cable. That's part of this metal cage. And this looks like it just comes up. The Mac chimney! Yes! Oh, I love that ridiculous crap. Speaking of ridiculous crap, I have a video. I'm going to super try all my hardest to get it done before VCF Midwest. Because it is a ridiculous input device that does not appear online except in the Internet Archive. Nobody's done a video about it. No one's even shared a picture of the damn thing. And it is absolutely wackadoodle. I love it. It is very silly. And I look forward to doing a video on it. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to film some of that. The missus has some DIY projects around the house she wants me to look at. But hopefully I can get this video in. Oh, I forget who did the video on the Mac chimney, but that's funny. Oh, God. Mike! We need a stream from you, buddy. I'll watch you doing that. Just promise me you won't blow up your house. Was this like a little clip that holds this in? Sort of in the way. This metal shielding stuff is so particular sometimes. A Thurman-inspired device. You're not far off there, Gut Bomb. You are not far off. Not as wacky, but you are not far off, my friend. Alright, bend that out of the way. Alright, yes, there are two little capacitors hiding there. Actually, four of them. Yeah, I can't read. There are four of them. Alright. Let's get those suckers out of there. Oh, I gotta remove the bottom? Ugh. How the hell do I do this? Do I have to desolder the whole... Oh, this is not fun. Boo! I don't want to do this. There's a whole metal plate. How is this attached? Oh, God, I have to bend? Wait, what? There's a resistor, so I can't... No, you can't pull it down. You have to be able to pull it up. This makes no sense. How the hell are you supposed to... I've never had to do one of these before, so... How is this attached? Oh, it's clipped on. Oh, thank God. I thought Apple was just going to be diabolical there. Like, nope, solder it on. Alright, there we go. Whew. So I was looking, and there's some components that go, like, between the cage, and I'm like, I'm not sure that's a good way to lay that out. Ow. There's a lot of bits under there. Look at all them thingamajigs. Oh, Karl, that is too kind of you. Eep! Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. No worries. We will... I can't guarantee this is going to work, my friend. But I sure as hell could put capacitors in it. And cross my fingers like anybody else. My goodness, that's funny because on this side of the board, there's like nothing in that area. There's one chip. And on the bottom, it's like, woo! Like a whole thing. Sorry, I'm missing some of the chat here. I will catch up in a moment. Let me just get myself situated here. I hope that's the right component. Yay! You have chosen wisely. Okay, so it's not that one. Now, the reason I put my hand on the top of the capacitor is when you start to desolder it, you could feel it sort of give way, so you know you got the right one in hand. Thank you very much, Mike, for the super chat. Yep, yes, I'm a spork, and Carl's a bigger spork. We're the spork friends. It's like the super friends, but we're all sporks. Thank you, Mike. You don't have to do that. That's very kind of you. Yep. All right. One more cap in this little dungeon of capacitors here. A thought occurs. I did not pay attention to that capacitor that said it was on backwards. Crap. Oh boy. And I didn't take any photos because I'm an idiot. Let's scroll down. This person said CP14. So let's see where CP14 is. Let's put this down. Let's move all these little caps out of the way. Let's see if we can see, whoopsies, where CP14 is. 31, 8, 11, CP or CF? CP. CP13, getting closer. CP14, there it is. Now, that might have been one of the caps that was glued together. Yes. No. Damn it, it was the one above it, which I believe was blue, which is this little happy guy, which, yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you which way it was. Oh, wait, there's some glue residue on it, so let's see. Nope. Ooh, there is some leakage that was on here. Let's see about this one. Oopsies. So CP14, let's see on the list here which one that is. So that is part of the 3 here by this big old thingamajig. It's a technical term for it. That was a 470-25. Was it the blue one I was holding? Nope. Yep, it was this little guy. So someone said their polarity was reversed. Let's see. I'm just going to make sure I understand this conversation before I take any action. Thank you. One of the caps on your picture and on my board. It looks at CP according to the label on my board, and it also shows the opposite polarity labeled as well. I've attached a picture of my board before I removed the caps and cleaned it, and after I removed the caps. I was really hoping to get some insight and help, as I'm not sure which way to align it. My guess would be since your analog board in the picture shows Rev A, mine shows Rev A5. Which one is this? Which one is this? Mine doesn't say revision on it. For what it's worth, I recapped my TV board back in 2010. Orientation of the picture. I put it back in the same original order. There's no revision sticker on the board. Here's a picture of how it looked after I recapped. I'm going to paste this conversation into the chat so I'm not the only one reading it. Oh, there's a reefer cap on this thing? What? Oh, yeah. The more modern reefer caps. When in doubt, always follow the markings on the board. The photo of my board I did before recapping. I really doubt the board had worked on me before, so it's just some small variations between the revisions. That's how I'm tempted to try. Damn, I should have. Well, you know what? It might be in the video, but probably not. Let me open the thingamajig here. I'm just curious if I could spot what orientation that capacitor was in. Let me just rewind myself a little bit. Been going for a little over an hour now. Okay, let's scroll forward. Let's see, it was this area with the, about 20 minutes ago. Let's see. Sorry, folks. I just want to make sure that I'm going to do this correctly, because otherwise that'll be a problem. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was designed by Sony. A lot of these boards were. Okay, so that's that. Let's move this way. Okay, that was... I think it was earlier than that. Let's see, what am I yammering about now? I had it this way, so nope, I'm not doing that one. Okay, yes, I found the spot. Just for winding. Only you had the camera pointed slightly lower, you nitwit. No, I can't tell. Anyway, I'll just follow what's on the board. And I'll have to test it, and we'll see what happens. 50-50 chance. Exactly. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hey, Joe. Hey, Lazy. Hey, Thomas. Jean-Francois Paris. I am not pronouncing these correctly. I apologize, but hello, anybody I missed. Great Classic TV, etc. Alright. Yeah, let's continue with whatever the hell this is. So we have these two caps here, which are huge, and glued to the board. But if we look this way, there is signs of capacitor leakage, which has discolored the hot snot. That's the first I've ever seen that happening. Look at that. It's discolored the hot snot. You can see that leakage there, the little brown, light brown stickiness that's on those pads. Ugh. First time I've seen it affect the hot snot there. So, you know what? My alcohol is upstairs, outside, because I was doing something. Let me take a break and go grab that really quickly. Someone peed inside of it. Actually, you know what? I will do that after I've done all the caps, because I'll have to do that. Let me finish up what I have to do with the desoldering gun. I can turn that off and run upstairs real quick. These are going to be a pain because they're on their side. Weird. I'm tackling these two right now. Usually the bigger caps don't fail as much, but we have replacements, might as well replace them. And we're going to have to take off that hot snot. Yeah, it certainly has some leakage there. And I'm seeing it elsewhere. I could smell it now. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry, I really need to get my second camera working. Apologies for any dizziness this may cause. But, ugh. I was saying, oh yeah, the board looks fine. His famous last words. There's all this hot snot here. It's disgusting. Because you can't really get the caps off the board if they're stuck to the board. So I'm trying to like stab at it and clip it out carefully. So if I get one of them out, I could probably get the other one out. That's just loaded with hot snot. Yeah, I'm going to turn on the... See, I can't have two of them on at the same time, or my breaker will probably trip. So let me turn off this, then I'll turn on my hot air, and weaken it a little bit. and a RAM module falls to the ground. Sorry for the unintentional crotch cam. That's not what you folks came to see. Came to see hot snot action, 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 action. Oh, it smells awful. It's taking the wrapper of the capacitor off with it. We're getting it off slowly but surely. I have it on a low heat because I don't want to accidentally desolder anything or make anything go flying. That one is lifted up. Now we could get to the other one a little bit easier. Oh, God. I almost grabbed it with my hands. That would have been a bad idea. Oof. My goodness, was that a pain in the butt. Let's get a little bit of a closer look here. So as you can see, this is where they were. And to remove that, the glue was so stuck on there, it ripped off the label of the capacitor. You can smell it sympathetically. Oh, man. The Mac TVs are cool, but it's just for the black case. Unfortunately, their 8 megabyte RAM limit is absolutely ridiculous. And it really limits what you can do with the machine. And now we have to get all this goop off because we have to replace the capacitors there. And the goop is not helping us. My tweezers are being sacrificed for the goop removal. Oh, God. Look at that. It's like a huge snot rocket there. And it has capacitor juice all over it. Ugh. I'm going to put that to the side and I'm going to forget one day. And I'm going to be like, why does it smell like capacitors in the basement? More than usual. Let's see if we could get really have to flex the board too. I don't like doing that. Ugh. Maybe I'll let this settle for a bit. I don't know. Let me blast it with some hot air again just to try and get some of it off. All right. Alright, well I think I got most of the offending in the way hot snot off of the board. So that's good. My goodness, that was a pain. Ugh. I didn't even see how many people are watching. 55 people, that's not too bad. Hello everybody. Alright. It's kind of still there. There we go. But yeah, let me get my phone here so I can take a picture. Actually, I do have a picture of the board because I took that dumb selfie with the board. I wonder... Yes. There's that cap. And it had a little misshapen thing on it. Yes. Okay. So this was installed. Thank goodness I have a photo. So this was installed with in the right polarity. Okay, yeah. I think, yeah. This was right there. Yeah, so on my board, and I'm going to take a photo of this, because that's the CP14 one that we were curious about before. So I have a photo of it. Yay! I was able to match it, so... Turn on the flash here. I also have to charge my phone. All right, perfect. Oh, looks like the YouTube chat crapped out. Hold on, let me refresh. It does this every once in a while, where it stops showing the chat for no reason. Webpage takes a long damn time to load. Come on. It's just going... Wouldn't it be funny if I was offline and I'd have no idea? Just load. There we go. My goodness. Sorry, I missed all the chat because YouTube is dumb and it just stopped responding to pop-out chat. So let me scroll up. Last thing I read was I could smell that sympathetically. So now I gotta scroll up. My goodness. Sorry about that. Alright. Yeah, hobbled to only 8 megabytes of RAM. That's right. Mac TV for $50 with the keyboard and mouse. 100% bombed. Oof, yeah. The keyboard and mouse is the good part, though. Hey, Jonathan. How's it going? Just snap off the groove with the screwdriver. I tried. It did not want to go. And I was actually afraid of snapping the board, because this isn't the thickest PCB. Fume extractor time. I guess. Too late. All right, and we're back to doing whatever the hell. Any progress on the DAT tape archive retrieval project? Kind of. I had a few of my tape drives die, or at least they weren't reading the tapes properly anymore. And to give you an understanding of that process, usually each tape takes about an hour or two to actually be retrieved. The catalog information be retrieved. So let me back up. The problem with those data tapes is I don't have the original files that were created as sort of like an index when these tapes were generated. So in order to take data off of those tapes, I have to guess what program was used to create that tape. And then I have to use that program on a similar system. And then I have to go ahead, put those tapes in. Hopefully the tape isn't damaged. Hopefully the drive likes it. And it usually takes anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour to read through the whole tape, depending on how much of the data was used, this format of the tape and everything, to then bring back a catalog of the data on that tape. Then I have to do a retrieval. And the problem is, when I do a retrieval, if one of those files is bad, sometimes it just stops. And it won't go on to the next file. So it is very much a long process. I still have the system there, my 8600 set up. I just haven't had time to try and attack that recently, unfortunately, as you could tell by my lack of YouTube content. I haven't had much free time for playing around with this stuff, but I still have the box of tapes, William. I'm still working at it. I wish there was a faster way to do this, but the majority of the tapes, at least the ones that I've, the few that I've done, they seem to be revisions of each other, which is good and bad. The bad part is that there's a lot of duplicative information there, and I'd have to manually sort through it. But the good part is, theoretically, if there's like Archive 1, Archive 2, Archive 3, Archive 4, Archive 4 is the latest version of Archive 1. So, yeah, I have that going for me, I guess. But another project that is constantly being worked on when I have some free time. Because it's fun. It's one of those things you can just put on in the background and, but you forget about it. It's one of those things that just keeps creeping up on you. It's like, oh, I gotta do that thing. And I remember those backup units that use VHS tapes. Yeah, LGR did a fun video about that. Style Writer, yes. Who mentioned the Style Writer? Sorry, the keyboard. Ooh, you got you got the Black Style Writer hardware hacker. Nice. Was it the color Style Writer? I think it would have been that one at the time. The portable one is a grayish color. It's not black, but the color Style Writer, the 2400. What is it? No, not 2400. 2300. I have to look the darn thing up. I can't remember my printer names. Oh God, what's the world coming to? It has a 2 in it. Portable Style Writer. I swear it had a number to it. Yeah, no, that's... Mac Tracker has the wrong damn icon. 2200, that's what it is. I knew it had a 2 in it. 2200. Because the 2400 and 2500 I have, those are the beige ones that are sort of like the Style Writer too. But anyway, we're talking about printers. We're cap time. We're doing caps. I think we're almost done here with removing the caps at least. Yeah, thankfully the tapes that I have that I'm archiving here are 1 and 2 gigabytes, it seems, and not all of them are full. So it's not terrible. Like, oh gosh, if it was like dozens of tapes of 70 gigabytes, that would be a different story. But at least mine aren't too big. All right, so let's go back to this capacitor guide, and I'm just double checking I didn't miss anything. So let's see here. There's one. Nope, I missed 5. Okay, we're going to do those in a second. I'm just looking around here. Didn't miss any over there. Yeah, so we did the majority of them so far. But there are some right here that we're hiding under that shield. Another 5 that we're hiding under that shield that we have to do. So let's do that. Let's turn off the heat gun. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run upstairs and get that ice alcohol real quick. I'll be right back. I'm going to put on the Be Right Back music. Sometimes it's a little louder than this or not. So just be aware of that if you're wearing headphones. So I'm going to turn that on, Grab your volume control, lower it for a second. Oh, the TV tuner, those are the pain in the butt. There's a recap kit for them, but I don't think anyone's rebuilding them. Anyway, I'll be right back in a few minutes. I'm back. Music's over. This is something I built earlier today. I had a 8mm viewer editor, which is basically a box with a screen and two places to hold reels, but the bulb was dead, and they used some old bulb from the 70s. So I made a little box here with two AA batteries and a little resistor and LED, and look, I have a little LED. Whee! Wasn't bright enough for the application, but whee! So that was something that was fun. All right, what I miss? No worries, Scout. Thank you very much for tuning in. Any troubleshooting tips on a board after recap that does not power on and is appreciated? Well, Bruce at Brankus Creations has a video that I believe is titled about something like... I'm going to find it, actually. It's like what to do when recapping doesn't work. Let's see. And there's a great thumbnail there. There we go.
Hi there, my name's...
Whoop, Bruce is going through my speakers here. So for you, Scout, there's the link there. If you watch the replay, hopefully that'll help you out. But the name of that video is called What to Do When Recapping Doesn't Fix Your Vintage Computer by Brankus Creations. Made about 2 years ago, has a funny thumbnail there with Bruce and Dan of the Canadian Computer Collector channel. Another great channel you should subscribe to. So there we go, my probe light. All right, so we have 5 more caps to do over here. Let's turn on our desoldering gun. I need to redo my desk and make everything nice and tidy and not so everything's going to fall over at any given moment like it is now. Oh boy. But stuff like that DAT tape project, oh, it's such like a time-intensive thing, but it's very rewarding when you actually are able to pull data off of something like that. Especially these tapes are of particular interest because this individual downloaded a lot of drivers and tools and stuff that may not necessarily be backed up. The problem is sorting through them and making sure any little bits and pieces of personally identifiable information is removed, obviously. We don't need to be sharing any of that. But I have uploaded a few little things. There are some utilities and updaters and things because when it's backing this stuff up from the tapes, it's such a long process that sometimes you have a, you know, if you're sitting in front of the machine, you have the opportunity to, you know, copy and paste some things or whatever. And I put some of those files into a folder where I was like, oh, okay, I know these are like an update type thing that I could put on Macintosh Garden fairly easily. And I was able to do that for like 1 or 2 items, and I did thank... where's this one? I did note where they came from. Is this it? Yeah, there we go. In the description. Because we've all been there. You're looking for a file or something, and it just is not existing on the modern web. Nobody thought to back it up. And it's like, no, why? Alright, that one's free. And the other pin, come on. Whoopsies. These 2 pins are touching. They're close together. That's bad. That might have explained the flickering you had there, Karl. Oh, come on, get out of there, you stupid capacitor. Alright, there are 3 on this side. Oh boy. Oh, that one's on a ground plane. That's going to be a pain in the butt. And there's one more below here. Let's see if we can remove these. No, there. They have been moved. Oh yeah, Macintosh vehicle. Yeah, I mean those machines unfortunately are pretty sought after. You'd spend a few $100s just to get one. There was one at an auction at VCF Midwest 2 years ago or so, and of course the auction, which actually, if I'm driving there, I should bring something for the auction. The auction proceeds go to help the show and everything, so people are encouraged to bid up things and stuff like that. And I believe a Quadra 950 with a CD-ROM drive bezel went for like $900 or something silly high like that. Now maybe it's worth $900 to you, but To me, that's a bit much. I say this a lot, and I've broken the rule a number of times, but generally speaking, I tend not to spend over $50 on these vintage machines if I can help it, because you never know what the hell you're going to end up fixing. You might need a whole new analog board, a flyback transformer, a power supply, or whatever. Obviously, if it's all set up and ready to go, it's been recapped, you're not going to get that for $50. But the point being, I am fortunate where there seem to be a lot of these vintage systems in my particular area of the northeast of the United States, on the East Coast here, where there's a lot of tech companies and businesses and crap that might have gotten rid of these systems. So I generally find it not too hard to find some of these systems, and when I can, that's usually a price limit I set myself. Whether there will be machines available for that price is another thing. But if it's like a Mac clone or something oddball, I spend a little more. Too much. But anywho. Mm-hmm. 950 case filled with pennies. All right. So let's double check our guide again, and it looks like the majority of these have been removed. Let's see, we have the two in the corner there. I'm just doing a visual inspection. Then we're going to have to clean up some of these pads because there is some leaky capacitor goo that has been sitting around on this board for the past 30 years or so. There's one hiding over there. We got that one. We got that one. We got that one. So there are all these clusters of caps. I'm just making sure I got all of them here before we start putting caps on the board, because the only thing that I dislike about console 5 is sometimes they'll give you an equivalent capacitor, but they don't necessarily label if it's equivalent. So like if it's one with a slightly higher voltage or something like that, they don't necessarily say that, and so then you're wondering, like, wait a second, which one does this go to? So I will check their website to make sure. Sometimes they have a wiki that tells you where they substitute things, but that's not always the case. So I don't think I missed any caps, so that's great. I'm going to go to that Console 5 site and see if I could find, if they have a little wiki page here. $900 for a Macintosh TV? It's a 6803 with 8 megabytes of memory at maximum. No, thank you. Get yourself anything else. Oh, it's a bad deal. I mean, I get it. It's black. It's one of the few systems that Apple made that were in that color, and the keyboard and mouse are sought after and all that stuff. But still, ugh. Alrighty, so we got as of June 2025, kits now include a replacement Y-class safety cap. So Karl's kit didn't include that, but this is for CP16, which is any of these? CL8, CL10. Unless I'm missing it, I don't see a reefer cap on here. That is for CP16. Well, let's just take a look here, because if there is one, we should be aware of it. But some of them are not the paper filter caps. They are the more modern replacements, which are good. I see CP38, CP16, 13, 14. Sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason. I'm sure there is, but I usually see no rhyme or reason for these darn names. CP7. I'm looking for the things that look like reefer capacitors and seeing, but they also might, this is for 2 board revisions, so the Color Classic, the 575, and the Mac TV. Be right near the power plug. Yeah, I'm nuts. I'm seeing a CP20. Oh wait, there's hot snot over that one. That might be what they're mentioning. Of course, it's hidden by the snot. Move the camera closer here. So right here, nope, that's CP4. This is CP16 we're looking for. I see a 5. So these are like filter caps, and there's a bunch more over here too, but none of them say CP16. So I think we're good here. That might just be on a different revision. There's a few of them, but I'm not seeing any of the traditional looking reefer caps here, and there are some filter capacitors, but they don't seem to be the problematic ones. So we're in good shape there. Oh, good night, Nathan. Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Hey, Sam. And Aaron, hello. Yeah, none of those need replacing. We are good there. All right. Okay, so I came here for the reference of the Mac TV board. Here we go. And so it's identical. Okay, so the Macintosh TV analog board is nearly identical, but has an addition of 47 microfarad and 1 microfarad capacitor. Need help with correct positions for these parts. Okay, that's a weird thing to put in a wiki, but sure. Resistor diode upgrades. Tinker Different user YMK noted potential deficiencies of ratings for certain resistors and diodes. Considered the parts below offered as a kit. Well, that's cool that they reference Tinker Different for their thing. So I'm going to put this link in the chat if anyone wants to follow along. This is the Console 5 wiki for the analog board here, the Macintosh TV one. So they mentioned Tinker Different at the bottom. How cool is that? Let's click on that. The machine launch board full of recap. The analog board was partially recapped. The display soft power worked, but the picture was pinched horizontally in the middle and hourglass. Blah blah blah. So they replaced some resistors. I see. Well, let's hope everything else is good on here, because everything looks pretty good. So let's get some Q-tips, some cotton buds. Where did that bag go? I had a bag of them. Here they are, right in front of me. And we can clean up some of the nastiness here. I don't think my microscope can go high enough to view this because of this stupid, well, it's not stupid, but it's a big old flyback transformer right here. So I can't bring the scope over. But you'll just have to trust me when I say it's disgusting. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of alcohol in the corner here. Put this bottle on the floor so I could run over it with my chair and make it leak everywhere. But there are a few areas that I've spotted, like here, that could use a good cleaning. Yeah, look at that. That tannish color, that's the electrolytic goo. And you want to make sure you do this because I've recapped an SE30 before that was previously recapped by somebody, but they didn't clean anything. So those new caps just got all gunky and corroded again. Now, you don't have to make it spotless, but you know, it does help if you do a decent job of trying to clean up anything you see. Now this little resistor had a little bit of green on it on the legs here. Have to check on the other side. Whatever that is. That seems to be fine there. Okay. Oh, and I spilled my little cap. That's fine. There wasn't much left in there anyway. Yuck, 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 yuck. Okay, so those are in better shape now. I'm generally really only cleaning where I see the goo there, but doesn't hurt to clean up all the pads. But that was really the more problematic area. Let's see. We'll do some of these in here. This isopropyl alcohol that I'm using dries up very, very quickly. So I don't have to worry about shorting anything out or anything like that, especially because I'm not going to be able to test this machine tonight. Heck, I haven't even put a new capacitor on here yet, but hopefully that all goes pretty smoothly. Not really seeing much of any other nastiness here. Let's get this cable out of the way. Oh, there was a little bit over there. Sometimes it's easier to notice after you wipe it away, because it is a tan board and sometimes the little brown speckles can get hidden between some of the silk screen here. Yeah, none of these look particularly bad, which is a good sign. All right, I think we're in good shape there. Hello, Nicholas. I hope you're enjoying wherever you are at the moment. Why the heck are you watching me? It's late there. Go to bed. You get to get up early tomorrow. All right. Let's see. Oh boy. Well, feel better, Great Classic TV. No worries, Karl. Take care. Good night. I'll keep you posted. Feel better. Hang in there. All right. So now comes the fun part of taking all these capacitors and finding out where they go. I really should print out this paper, so I'm going to do that real quick. I don't have to go upstairs and leave you all again. I have a perfectly good printer right here. It makes a lot of noises. Let's just plug it in. Actually, no, we can't do that. We can't do that because that printer does not work nicely with newer computers. The driver's weird. I will just copy and paste the text and cross it off as I go. How about that? Let's just grab the Console 5 dealie here. And they had a list on their wiki, which I just closed. So, find that again. Here it is. So let me just make a doc of this. I will open it up in a document here, and we'll just check it off one by one as we go along. Where's the fun in not doing it that way anyway? And let's share that on our screen so you folks can see what I see. Doop, boop, and boop. Alright, so where could we put this? We'll just put it in the corner there. That's fine. And as we cross things off, we'll cross it off there. Okay, so let's make this bigger because I am blind. Alright, so CP2, let's start with that. So I need to open these up and put them in something that I'm not going to lose. And I also need to turn off the desoldering gun. And let me get a little container or something to hold these in. Be right back. Already have a little bin to put these in because there's a lot of pieces. And I do not want to lose them. Pair of scissors here somewhere. There they are. Okay. So I guess let's do the big cap first. because that is going to be the easiest to identify. Let's try and adjust this so it's not pointing at my crotch, huh? That's a little bit better, huh? Now you're pointing at my gut. All right. It's a weird bag of candy. Okay, so yeah, this is the big boy. This is the 400 volt, 330 microfarad capacitor. Let's put that in the wrong orientation. Yay! No, we're not going to do that. So, looking at, we need the other dock open here too. And we'll start easily then. So, the positive side points towards here. That's the one without the stripe. So that goes in. Just, nope, that's the wrong spot. Nope, wait, that was the right spot. Yes. He's a big dumb animal, isn't he, folks? Alright, so negative, go there. So negative on this board is indicated by the single line. The box that you see is positive. So that one just fits in there snugly. All right. Hold this capacitor up while I solder it. Oopsies. That's going to fall. Oh, that's right. I tried to use a little plunger deal for this flux, and it didn't work as it was supposed to. So I just have to do it the stupid way. I will adjust that. I think I have my other flux here, but need my solder too. There it is. I guess if it works, it's not stupid, but so I just sort of tack that on here because I do want to support it from the bottom to make sure it's nice and flush. And it is. And this is when I will be turning on my fume extractor in a moment. It's just on a big ground plane, so they're hard to get those situated sometimes. All right, so that was this one here, which I already forgot the number of. CP30. All right, so let's mark that off of the list we have here. CP30. Can we do a strike through? Why can't I do a strike through? That's dumb. Orange. All right, so the orange ones will be done then. So, yes, Rudy made Rudy's Retro Intel made the SE30 Peaker, which is an excellent product that I had the pleasure of helping out a little bit with. Gutbaum did a lot of the heavy lifting, obviously, and of course Rudy did as well, because it's his product. Oh, it's funny, on the back here it actually says Analog Board Mac LC 520 Revision B 8200369B. That's what the bottom says. That's interesting. But yeah, the SE30 Peaker is a great diagnostic tool if you have a Macintosh SE30. All right, so let's actually make this window a bit bigger, and I'll have to readjust it here on the screen capture thing. Just give me a second. There we go. So it's a little bit easier for you folks to see. And I want to make sure that my fume extractor is on, so let me make sure that is plugged in somehow. Move some things around because that hasn't been plugged in a while. Because I haven't been soldering in like a while. I think my last live stream was like a month ago. For shame, I know. Alright. Let's hope we don't drop the soldering iron on my head, or hands, or foot, or really anywhere. Alright. Sort of the position where it could be in. And is it plugged in? No, it is not. So we have a figure 8 power adapter here that needs to plug into this power strip. Let's see if there's any noise thingamajigs, filters I can put on here. I doubt it. Filters, here we go. Audio filters. Noise gate? Noise suppression. That sounds about right. Well, can you hear it anymore? I think that's gonna... That seems like it's doing it. I might sound weird. I can't hear myself, so apologies if I sound weird. But hopefully that cuts out most of the noise. I'm gonna crank this sucker a little bit up then. All right. Okay, so let's move this slightly, and let's get ourselves situated a bit better here. All right. So the next capacitor on our list here is, I guess let's do a bunch of them at once. Not too weirder than usual. Great. That's what we strive for here on Mac 84. Just the right amount of weirdness. All right, so let's do a little caps in the area where the shielding was first. So we need a 4.750. So these are all 25/100s. These are all 150s. So this is, let's do CF2. So for CF2 here, we have a 4.750 volt instead of the, oh, that is a 50 volt. All right, so. Yeah, sorry. It's probably better than hearing the noise. Or you tell me, I'll turn it off. What the hell just happened? That was weird. My screens just went out. I'm still streaming. Both of my screens were just like, you don't need me anymore, right? I'll just shut off. Is that okay? So CF2. Put the capacitor in there. I remember hacking Xboxes, the original Xboxes. May or may not have taken advantage of some video game rental stores to, let's just say, rent games longer. So let's highlight that. And then the next one is CL13. It's a 2.2 200. So I have a 2.2 250 here. Let's see. These are all 2.2 200s. So I'm going to assume the 250s are what they give us. Let's just see. It's a different one. 2.2, 250. 2.2, 250. Yeah, so that's what they give you. So instead of a 200, they give you a 250. So I'm actually going to mark that just in case this is helpful for anybody. So gave you 250. Because it's good to share. Where the hell's the button? There it is. It's good to document. Yar! Alright, so this one goes like this. Oopsies. Almost dropped them all on the floor. Would have been bad. Well, see, I did have all the capacitors until they fell on the floor. Alright, so the next one is CV21. CV21. That's a 100 microfarad, 25 volt. Here we go. Here's one of them. Here's your taco. All right, so this is a replacements for CV21, which is a 100 microfarad, 25, and that's exactly what they give you. I'm just slotting these in and bending the pins. And I have one more of this group, CL11. And once that is done, I will solder them in. CL11. 1 microfarad, 50. I believe that's one of these. It is. Hey, Kappa. Welcome back. If you notice my voice is tinny, oops. If you notice my voice is tinny, it's because I have a noise filter on for the fume extractor, because it is loud. All right. Make sure they're all in the right orientation before we solder them on. Yes. This is so clunky because of all the stuff that's attached to the darn thing. Oh, what am I going to do? That's scary, Gupum. Alright, I think that's all of them. It's soldering time. Nope, we hit a weird issue. One of these doesn't have a pad. Or maybe it's just dirty? No, that looks like there's no pad. God, all my crap is falling everywhere. Oh, yeah, we have a part where the trace fell away. Well, we could do a repair for sure. If I could find where those little wires went. Oh boy. Yep, sometimes the Moo gun eats a pad. And it happened. Thankfully, it's not a big one. But it's a pad nonetheless. So I need to find where I put my scalpel. Here it is. It might be. Yeah. And this big old flyback is not helping me out here. So let's see if I can hang this like this, and then I get at the microscope here. Let's see. Let's see if the microscope cam wants to cooperate today. And it does not, because it's not plugged in. Hold on. Please work. Yay! And I am way too zoomed in here. Hey, Ron, how's it going? Please hold. Your call is important to us. Lift up this whole thingamajig. Welcome to Crotch Cam 84. All crotch, all the time. All right. Let's see if this makes any difference here. Yeah, that's a bit better. Adjust the camera here. So you can see, that's where the trace got eated. There's no trace there no more. It went bye-bye. So we're going to have to put a new one there. Oops. Things are falling off the microscope. Oh boy. I don't think anybody wants to watch that. All right. Let's expose some of the trace here. Go. That's where my video got demonetized. Let's hope not. All right. All right. I'm going to take some of this enameled wire. This should be thick enough. Yeah, that's fine. And we're going to strip this cable here. My eyepieces are not focused correctly. There we go. Now we can both see it correctly. Kapam's like, oh no. All right. So let's put some flux here just to help us out. Like a medically accurate amount of flux. Well, I don't have any spare Ethernet wire at the moment. I have this 28 AWG cable, and then I have a much thinner 34 AWG. Those are what I tend to use. But this is of similar size for the pad. It's pretty thick. So I think this will work just fine. Now, if this was a much thicker trace, I'd use a thicker cable, but in fact, I have to peel this away a little bit more. Just burning the enamel off of this thing. Coat that with some solder. I did not scrape that away enough, huh? There we go. And let me get my tweezers. My broken tweezers, apparently. Come back over here. It's much easier to burn the enamel off when you are against a piece of wood like on the desk. You are trying to solder do something. There we go. Alright, it's not the most beautiful thing, but I did want to try and reinforce it. And I think that'll be just fine. There we go. It's like watching knitting with wires. By the way, yeah, I could have done that. That actually would have made a lot more sense, Gutbomb, to bend the wire, the lead, over to there, but I didn't think about that. I just want to give a shout out to Ron of Ron's Computer Videos. And Ron, feel free to put the video or your channel link in the chat here. Ron's been doing these excellent interviews with folks that used to work in Apple's education division, among others. You know, game developers and all sorts of things. He's just done an amazing job. The desoldering gun did it, Bruce. I didn't do it. I would never. He's been doing an amazing job doing these interviews, which have been fantastic. I've been really enjoying them, especially while I'm working. I'll put them on in the background and just listen like a podcast. They are phenomenal. So if you have not checked those out, please do. It's really interesting to hear, like, because I'm a big geek with Apple history and stuff like that, so it's fun to learn about this stuff. But it's nice to hear about it from the people who were there, because a lot of the time, you get secondhand information, or you just see like one period on a one sentence rather on a Wikipedia article. But Ron has been doing a great job tracking down these folks and getting them to do these interviews, and I've just been really enjoying it. So if you're into that stuff like I am, please check out Ron's channel, Ron's Computer Videos. He's been doing some great work there. So look forward to many more of those. You keep making them, I'll keep watching them. Oh, this is such a stupid big board. I can't even bring the rest of it over the microscope, under the microscope. All right. But sometimes the method is good. All right. So that was this one here. All right. So we got a few already. Oh my God, there's so many more to go. We've got such a long way to go before we get the capacitors over, or whatever. All right, so next, I guess we'll do the ones adjacent to that. That is in this area here, where my camera can't show, right where my finger is pointing, because then we can put the metal shield back on. So there are 5 capacitors in this area. Let's start with CV19. That's another 2.2 250. So I'm just going to put a note there with any of these. So that's 19. Let's get one of those 250s. Oh no, that's a different one. I hope I put the other one in the right spot. Maybe? Just double check. Yes, okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't screw up here. Because there's a 4.2 as well. This is a 2.2 we need. So this is CV19. So I'm just catching up on the chat. What I miss. I thought I saw Bruce heckling me, which he has every right to do, because we all heckle him. All right, next is CV20 and CV17. So CV20 is right next to that. So that's another 2.2 200. They replaced with a 250. You forgot to attach the vacuum tubes. Fix it now. Oh no. Thank you very much for the super chat there, hardware hacker. Eep. Hopefully no vacuum tubes will be in my future. I don't know what the hell I'd be doing with those. I mean, don't get me wrong, that stuff is cool. I saw a whole video of a guy trying to bring up an old TV. That was fascinating stuff, but I'd be very much out of my element. Right. Alrighty. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember my dad telling me about the tube testers. Whenever the TV would be on the fritz, they'd use, as soon as their dad walked in the door, my grandfather walked in the door, You'd back in, the TV broke, the TV broke, and they had to go to the pharmacy store or whatever and get the tube tester to get a replacement tube. Because that's how things were. Some water, because I am losing my voice. I forget the type of TV I saw. It was a long time ago, but there's a lot of cool channels that still show up that stuff. Alright, so next is a CV17. Now this is a 100 microfarad 25. Let's see what they give us. Yep, we have a 125, so that's what we'll use. And that goes into CV17. I'd say I need a bigger desk, but I know I just filled up with crap anyway. I need a more organized desk, that's what I need. Alright, so that 17 is done. Alright, so now we are looking at CV13. So that's a 10 microfarad, 100 volt. Oh, we have a 2.2 100. That's not it. Nope. Gotta be one of the small guys. Relatively small. 10 microfarad 100. Here it is. No worries, Aaron. I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. I haven't streamed in like a month, and I really want to get back into videos and stuff. I've just been super busy with work and life. So I'm very glad you were able to tune in, and apologies overall for being otherwise occupied. And next is CV18. So this one. So this is another 2.2. 250. What I don't like about the silk screening on this board is it doesn't always have the plus symbol next to it, so you just got to be super duper aware of what you're doing, otherwise you could run into trouble. So let's do CL19 just because it's nearby. Uh, 10250. That was the other one I saw here. Nope. 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 One of the bigger ones, I think. There's a 10 microfarad 250. There we go. So again, the negative side goes to the one that looks like a negative, and then the one that looks like a square is a positive. And we'll do these other two in the corner just because they're really close by. We have a 1 microfarad 50 volt capacitor. That's sometimes the ones that get off this tape is so hard to do that. Well, this is a cap kit, so they're not really labeled, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Actually afraid to do a digi key order with all these silly tariff nonsense things. But thankfully, I have a bunch of caps, and since I haven't been repairing too much stuff, I think I'm set for a bunch of machines. But gosh, when it's going to be time to order, that's going to be a pain in the butt. So CL, this one we did. Not looking forward to that. And this is a CL24. That's the 150. We just put that in. And then this one is a CL23. That's 100 microfarad, 6.3. It's an interesting value. Let's see. Good night, Rudy. It's a 16100. Nope. We need 6.3. Or at least close to it. Nope. Nope. No. I do not see a 6.3 volt capacitor in here. 100 microfarad, 6.3 volts. Well, let's go through all of them. These are much larger, so I don't believe it would be any of them. I probably have a spare if needed. Or I could test one of the ones from the old ones I took off. Might be fine, but you never know. But yeah, I am not seeing it unless something fell on the floor, but I don't see anything on the floor. Oh boy. Well, that stinks. We're missing a cap. So that's CL23, which is a 100 microfarad, 6.3 volt. Huh. 100 microfarad, 6.3 volts. Let's check the used capacitors here. Just to confirm that there was actually one of those. 110, 0.47. Really? Interesting. 2. It does look like that, doesn't it, Jeff? Yeah, I'm sure I have one, Bruce. I'm just curious, you know, if I pulled one from the board. I don't remember reading all of the caps off, but I am just curious. Not that I'd necessarily want to use one of these old ones. Sometimes you pull a cap off and it's actually just fine. But, you know, we're in here to replace them. I would rather replace them with, here it is, 6.3100. Yep, that's exactly, I just want to confirm my assumptions. So we have a mix of G5s and Mac Pros. And the first Mac Pro there, where my finger is pointing to, that was my streaming system for the longest time, and I edited all my old videos on that thing. That thing was a beast. But yeah, we have a 1.8 gigahertz, we have a dual 2 gigahertz, we have a quad G5, all these silly G5s. They are holding down the shelves. And whenever I do a video, you know, usually you see me from like the head up, but if you look closely at the bottom, you see the handles. And somebody once thought, oh, that's a great poster you have there. Like, no, sadly, that's not a poster. That's a bunch of machines. Lives off captures. Let's see, you gotta live off something these days. Yeah, so the Tinker Different guide says 100 microfarad, 6.3 volts. The wiki list from console 5 lists that too. I guess, maybe they, let's double check again. I see a 16 volt 10 microfarad, but I don't think they would replace it that high. I guess they could. Let's see if there's any other 16s here. That's the difficulty with a recap pack like this. It doesn't really tell you what they substituted. So this is a 16 volt 100 microfarad. That is suitable, I would say. So 16 volt 100. 125. 125. 1016. Yep, I think that's what it must be. Let's just check again. I don't want to use a cap for anything else that is supposed to be, and I will mark it on the sheet here. But yeah, it looks to be. You can see the list that I'm seeing. I'm just triple checking because sometimes I skim over things and don't notice. But yeah, so they gave us a 16 volt one, which is totally fine. But I would love to know this stuff because it makes my life easier. Didn't have to rummage around for more parts. Yay! All right, so let's shove that in there. All right. That's kind of there. Let's make sure. Okay. All right, time to flip this upside down. We'll see if the microscope wants to cooperate, even though we don't need it for such tasks. If it'll reach, it'll give you something different to look at for a little bit. And I almost dropped my solder. That would have been bad. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. The wiki doesn't say, and I understand maybe they have to swap out parts frequently or whatever, but it would be great to just have a little asterisk and say, hey, this is sometimes swapped out with this or whatever. All right. Well, we got a lot on our plate here. Oops, I put flux in the wrong spot. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's very hard to have too much flux on projects like this. Yeah, and then sometimes they give you extras. You're exactly right, Jack. It's just it's a little confusing. I understand. Totally understand. Totally get it. But so let's nope, that's too high up. That's a bit better for you folks. Okay. All right. Yeah, and I know it covers multiple models, but still, I mean, they have a wiki. It doesn't cost them anything to update it. That's all I'm saying. I don't think I have permission to update the wiki, or I would. But I think I tried to do that before. Wouldn't hurt to shoot them an email and ask. Okay. So the flyback transformer is preventing me from getting closer to these spots on the board, so I apologize. But I'm just doing some other spots here. And now we get to clip them off, which is always so satisfying. How many people we got watching? I don't have the window up. Just curious. $36, not too bad. We're late on a Saturday night. Some of these are a bit of a pain to get to. Oh, that pad is very loose there. That ain't good. See that? Not sure what I could do about that. That sucks. Might have to reinforce that a little bit. You can't see, I'm sorry, because the microscope is focusing slightly out of center, like it always does. Watch this. It's not doing as much as it was before, but I'm just going to reinforce this. I don't want that breaking later on. Get some of this wire here, which is somewhere on my desk. Editing a network diagram. Heck yeah. I have to adjust my network. I have the router from the internet company, which seems to be fine, but there's like a dead zone in the house, so I gotta maybe get a repeater or something. I don't know. Alrighty. Where is this again? There it is. Right there. Yeah, because the signal is weak upstairs. The router is downstairs. So, for example, when the signal is weak, if I load up a video or something to watch on my phone, it'll play for a second, then it'll buffer. And if I turn the Wi-Fi off and it goes to cellular, it's fine. So, paying for the internet at home, don't really want to use my cellular data if I don't have to. I really wish this would go exactly where I wanted it to go. Sorry. You can't see. There we go. I feel better with that. Good night, Dave. Take care. I'm not hardlined to my phone, no. No, all of my computers are hardlined. I'm not that stupid. But, no, my phone is not hardlined. So, whenever I'm using it and I'm having an issue, but I turn the Wi-Fi off, the cellular takes over and the issue goes away. So, that is a weak pad. Make sure none of these others are like that. What I'm going to do is find where I put my damn marker in my pocket. There it is. Nope, that's a screwdriver. Where's the dang old marker? There it is. Just put a big mark over there, so I know. Maybe to put some UV solder mask on there or something. All right, so let's continue with this. My goodness, I don't know if we're going to finish this tonight. There's a lot of caps to go. We'll do a few more and see how I feel, because it's, oh my gosh, it's 12:30 a.m. Did not realize that. Do a few more. Bruce, I'm in the middle of explaining how late it is. Bruce is like, you gotta promise me you'll be here when I get back. You could rewind and look at the bits that you missed. That's what you could do. Oh my goodness. But we can put this little cage thing back on here. Let's do that before we forget. So this goes like, we can't see. If I could avoid repeaters, that would be great, but there's no hard line in the room where I usually get poor Wi-Fi. So, we'll see. It's one of those things I have to figure out eventually. Alright, let's try and get some of these caps out of the way. Well, I'm putting it back on because it came with the darn thing, and I don't remember what that pushes up against to. And it looks like it actually is, I don't know if it's being used as a heat sink for this big fin up here. Whatever. Might as well just put it back on. It's not going to do me any harm putting it there. And I hate having leftover pieces that I'm like, wait a second, did I lose something? Yeah. They're easy to take off. Now that we know how to do it. Alright, let's knock a few of these off the top here. CF7. CF7. So let's do CL21, because that is this one here. 100, 100. Easy, easy. 100, 100. There we are, 100 microfarad, 100 volts. That is CL21. Let's put that in there. Back the leads. Oh, yeah. Before I put, I don't think we're going to do it tonight, because there's too many to go, but way before I test this, I'm going to reflow a few things on here. Some of these connectors, and of course the flyback. Although this was working previously, and of course these connectors here that go to the neck. I always like redoing those just to be careful. And some of these sockets here, because my friend's not going to be able to do this once it's all done, so might as well do that for him just in case. So that is done. CL14, let's do that. CL14, it's right there. And that is a 47 microfarad, 100 volt. I just saw that. There's so many caps. 47 100. Here it is. And that is a CL14. CL14. Okay. And let's mark that. That's done. Now we have a 125, that's CL4, that is right next to it. So I believe that's one of these, yep, 125. Oh boy. It's getting a bit tricky. Oh, Sean's been janking it up for ages. He's an expert. Let's do these four, and then I think I'm going to wrap it up because it's late. It's almost 1 a.m. here. So we are looking for 0.47 microfarad, 0.47 100 volt. And we'll have to continue this another day. But at least we got all those old caps out. That was a pain in the butt. Give us a good head start on finishing this. And then I could bring out the system so I can actually test it on a stream. Because right now it's in the shed. That's not doing anybody any favors right now. And Bruce will be mad. That's a 3547. That's fine. Bruce will be mad because he's out shopping, but it's okay. So this is a 0.47 250. So let's see. Any other 0.47s here? No. All right. So they gave us a 0.47 250. So that's important to note here. Spare analog scope. I have I have this kind of fancy oscilloscope I splurged on a few months ago. I do have a big old analog oscilloscope, but it's meant for high voltages, I think. So what was this one? 35, CL35, 35, 35. There it is, CL35. Oh gosh, I remember those long streams I used to do. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. I had a lot more time and energy back then. Honestly, my old job was, my hours were a little bit different, so I didn't have to wake up as early. That ain't the case no more. I also need to fix my third monitor. It's not being detected for whatever reason. Hey, David, how's it going? Let's see. Oh, so we still got about 38 people watching. Yeah, I don't like waking up early. So we're just going to do a few more of these, then we're going to wrap it up because it's almost 1 a.m. here, unfortunately. So I'm going to put these 3 more caps in, and then I'm going to solder them all up, and then we'll do a long goodbye, I'm sure. But let's see. So we have the 2.1, the 2.2. These are these are not those. That's 25. This. $50 volt. Nope, not those. I need the other ones. Where'd the other ones go? These are 2.2 100 volts. Where the heck did those go? Hey, phone guy, how's it going? 2.2 100 volts, and there are 2 of them. Is these tiny guys? Yep, here they are. 2.2 100 volts. These little ones. So these go to CL33 and CL34. CL33 and 34 are right next to each other. Yay! Make sure we put them in correctly. Bruce is still at the shop, I believe, David. But he's around here somewhere. Where he was. He'll come back. So for those of you just joining, I'm Steve from Mac84. We are recapping this Macintosh TV analog board, which is also similar to the Performa 500 series analog boards. Those, highlight them. And we're not going to be able to finish tonight. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 35 capacitors to go. We're just going to finish up the ones that we're working on here. And then we'll have to finish this in another stream. But it's been a while. So I appreciate everyone joining. Alrighty, so now we have to find where CL31 is. It's like a puzzle. Oh, there it is. All right. Flip this up around like this. We're going to try and use the microscope. Sometimes it gets in the way, but let's do it. This will help us tell if any of these things need some repairs, because some of these were not too easy when we removed. Words. Some of these were not too happy when we removed the old solder. So let's just put some flux down. Just going around the board. You can't see it, but I'm putting flux down on the back of where we put all those cap legs through the holes. So when it comes time to solder them, we have no issues with connectivity or flowing solder or anything like that. All right. That looks pretty good. These are all out of vision of the microscope. So I'm going to put this back here. We'll switch cameras again. Let's see if we can bring this a little bit closer. I wish they made longer arms. I was looking for longer camera arms, and this was the longest one I could get that wasn't a stupid amount of money. Of course, my fume extractor isn't extracting because it's not close enough to me. It's done. It's a ground plane. That's annoying. All right, I think we got that. So let's find where we put our clippers. There we go. Carefully clip these off. Now there's so many caps and resistors and little parts on the back of this board here. I'm cutting these pretty short So I don't want them risking to touch anything else. Even if it's not touching now, you know, sometimes when things get hot, they can expand or contract a bit. You just want to be careful. Especially we're dealing with some higher voltages here. This is the analog board that powers the CRT monitor and the speakers and the whole computer. So all right, I think I got all of those. All right. You just got here. Been going for a few hours. In fact, we're about to wrap it up because it is just about 1 a.m. here. Hi. And let me turn my fume extractor down. I could turn the mic filter off now. The fume extractor is not as loud as it was before. Most of those legs are off the board. Come on. There we go. So what we've done today is we've removed all of the capacitors from this Macintosh TV logic board, very similar, if not the same, to the Color Classic. And the LC 500 series, Performa 500 series. So we removed all of the capacitors, and we have this list on the side of the screen. The ones in orange are the ones that we have replaced. In fact, I forgot to do that one. Format. So the ones highlighted here are the ones that we've replaced. So we still have about 30 or so more to go. So I'm always going to be obsessed with these old machines. No progress on that ever. But as you can see, there's a ton of caps on this thing. And there's a lot of empty spots where these caps go. And we got a lot of parts to put on there. So we'll have to continue this in another session when I'm not tired and when it's not 1 a.m. But it has been a while since I streamed, so I sincerely appreciate everybody tuning in, because I have not, unfortunately, had the time to recently to do this. My desk has been a mess. I've been working on other projects, some of which I talked about at the top of the hour. Top of the stream, beginning, ages ago, because we've been going for line. Thanks, YouTube, for not displaying any of the information I wanted to show. We've been going for over 3 hours, so it's a pretty long stream by my more recent standards. Yeah. Sorry, let me just zoom in on the chat so I can actually read it and respond to anything before we sign off here. There we go. Hi. No, this camera mount is like the day I put it on, I knew it was crooked. It will never continue to annoy me. Cease to annoy me. Alright, so we get rid of that. So let me hide that. There we go. It's much quieter down here without the extractor going. Been missing your streams. Always admired your microscope work. Well, thank you very much, Socket Wrench. That's very kind of you. I almost streamed a month ago, I think. So you haven't been missing much. But I'm glad you were able to tune into this one. I'm glad I was able to do this one. This logic board, analog board, came to me from my friend Karl, who I met at VCF Midwest a few years back, and at the previous VCF Midwest in September of 2024, he gave me this to repair. So I'd really like to get this all fixed up so I could provide it back to him when I go there in a few weeks, the next VCF Midwest, which if you're there, say hello. Anybody who's going to be there, be great to catch up. And I'll have stickers and fun stuff like that too. But making good progress, I think, on this. I'm not seeing anything too bad. There were some leaky caps that were a little bit iffy. But hopefully nothing serious. I didn't really notice anything problematic as far as cracked solder joints, but we will check those in greater detail when we can. But yeah, stay tuned for part 2. I don't know exactly when it'll be, maybe in a few days. Yeah. But let's see who's still sticking around here. As often as me, yeah. We have Jack68K, we have SadMac356, we have Hardware Hacker, we have Socket Wrench, Quicksilver AUS, Dark Winter's here, I almost said your name twice, sorry. Lucia's here, and Revolving Cyclops Video Walks, Roving. See, I can't read, it's too late. And great classic TV. Well, and Carther, I sincerely appreciate everybody who hung out today on the stream. And thank you so much for all the super chats. That was very kind of everybody. Certainly helps keep the lights on here, especially when I have to order more caps. Hey, Henry, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a bit. But I haven't been reading the chat because I'm dumb. K-Man Chronicles, hello. But I sincerely appreciate it. I do have a few videos in the works. And if you are a supporter of the channel via YouTube membership or Patreon, please don't forget you have access to an exclusive podcast that Colin and I, Colin from This Does Not Compute, do. We just released an episode on Thursday. There's a link in the YouTube membership of previous posts. It's the same link every time there's a new podcast. It goes to a folder of all the old ones. So even if I haven't updated the YouTube membership thing in a while, I'm sorry, sometimes I forget. All of them are there. On Patreon, I try and do it just because it's easier for me to schedule things. YouTube doesn't have an option to do that. But don't forget, you have access to that podcast. It's a benefit of supporting me for as little as $1 a month. If you want to support the channel, that's one of the perks you get. We have a lot of fun with that. We just shoot the breeze. So, Zip member, heck yeah, Zip Drive, woo! Thank you very much, Hardware Hacker. I appreciate it. And I appreciate every single one of you who tuned in today and who are supporting the channel or who just tune in and say hello. Sincerely appreciate it. It helps keep me sane, and it helps me work through the backlog of projects. I have tons more to do, so hopefully we'll have some time to do some more streams in the near future. But that's about it for now. I am going to end the stream. Thank you very much for all the kind words. Thank you, Jack. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you get to work on something fun, and we'll catch you next time. I thought I had an outro, but I guess I never set that up. So, we're not going to play the outro. I'm just going to wave bye and click the end stream button. Bye, good night, thanks.